Well, hey there, everyone, and happy Tuesday. I'm Fox 10 News meteorologist Jennifer Lambers with a look at your forecast. And in case you are joining me today, just let me know where you're watching from. Let me know that you can hear me okay. Again, today is Tuesday, August 6th. We are live for this edition of Next Weather. In case you ever want to watch any of our live Next Weathers, you can do so by watching on our YouTube page, our Facebook page, or any of our streaming apps. But also, in case you want to go back and watch any of these, you can also catch all of this on any of our streaming platforms, whether that's Roku, Apple TV, Fire Stick. You can watch them there, plus also on our website and our YouTube. So a lot of information heading into today. Mainly, I wanted to talk about the big story, and that is the heat. We've been talking about Debby for the past few days, but really what we're noticing today is going to be those warm, hot temperatures, and that's the influence that Debby is having on us. Now, there are other things that Debby's been doing to our forecast, but this is really the biggest one that you're going to be noticing over the next few days. And so looking at the temperatures, this is a look at what things are feeling like right now. And so many spots maxing out in the mid to upper 90s, some spots even warmer than that. Pascagoula already reaching into 100 degrees. And again, it's hot. It's steamy out there, and really only expecting it to continue to stay that way for the week ahead of us. But what this doesn't take into account is the humidity that we have out there. It's the Gulf Coast. We normally have a lot of this humid air, and so the feels like temperatures easily getting into the triple digits. Molino right now feeling like 109. Pascagoula, again, the actual air temperature 100 degrees, but the feels like temperatures, especially closer towards the coast, 115. It is hot, it is steamy, and Chatham right now feeling like 108. So let me know where you're located. Let me know what the feels like temperatures are for you. Again, I'm live on Facebook. In case you do have any of those comments, you can just drop them there about what you're experiencing with the forecast. But we do have that heat advisory in place for today. Many counties are included, but also there are some within the Foxton viewing area that are not. And the reason for that, you just don't meet the very specific criteria. But regardless, it's still going to be hot out there. Heat index values possibly getting up to 110 degrees. I was already seeing some areas feeling even warmer than that. And also the National Weather Service did extend that heat advisory by an hour. It typically goes to 6 p.m. They went ahead and pushed that back to 7 p.m. just due to how high those temperatures are that we're seeing. Now, today was the first day of school for many kids across the Gulf Coast. And so heading into after school, expecting those temperatures to be getting into the triple digits. It's going to be hot. If your kids are starting tomorrow, Thursday, or even next week, just make sure that you have those water bottles checked off of that school supplies list. You're going to want to send your kids with plenty of water. Remind them that throughout the day, they should be filling it up at any of those water stations or the water fountains. That way they're just staying hydrated with all of the heat. Also make sure they have that ready to go in case they're bus riders. I know they're going to be great about cooling down those buses before the kids get onto them, but it's going to be traveling for a while they get home. So again, just make sure they have some of those smart ways to help cool down. Taking a look across the southeast, again, we're seeing the influence of Debby. Now, Debby is still that tropical storm, but there it is churning just closer towards Georgia, South Carolina, a very slow moving system. A lot of times we see these tropical systems move inland and then they really pick up speed and get in and out of here, traveling across the whole U.S. and bringing just some of those impacts with it. This one is taking its time, and so it's also getting more of that influence off of the Atlantic. And so at that 1 p.m. advisory update, Tropical Storm Debby was still holding on to that tropical storm strength, and it's expected to stay that way until the end of the week. And so it's, if you notice the little bit of eye movement there, really just the center of that system, it's getting closer towards the coast, possibly even pushing back over into the Atlantic, where it's still going to start to get more of that energy. The sustained wind still 40 miles per hour, barely hanging on to that tropical storm strength, but it has slowed down even further, tracking east-northeast at 5 miles per hour. That 10 a.m. advisory update, it was 15 miles south of Savannah, Georgia. Now it's only 10 miles southeast of Savannah, Georgia. So extremely slow moving, taking its time, bringing all of that rain just closer towards the Carolinas and still into Georgia, and influencing really the southern peninsula there of Florida still. Now, although all of that moisture is taking place further towards the east, here we're still getting some of that drier air sucked in towards us. So that orangish brown coloration, that's going to be more of that dry air. You see all that moisture just further off towards the east, and even noticing that counterclockwise rotation that Debby is influencing onto southern Georgia and northern Florida. Louisiana, Mississippi also noticing more of that dry air in place. We do have high pressure situated just to the west of us. And so both of these are working together to really bring in some of that wind. And so if we take a look at the surface map, again, high pressure to the west, low pressure to the east, but they work together to bring in all of the wind just out of the north. And so we are just smack dab in the middle of it. That's where our forecast is being influenced. But high pressure, do just keep in mind, that's typically once we start to see the hot temperatures, the clear skies, and that's exactly what we're experiencing right now. So that's where we are on the map, situated in between these two areas. And so that's why it's so hot and it's so dry, and it's only expected to stay that way. And so by the time we get further towards the end of the week, these are going to be our temperatures that we're going to be seeing. Now, this is not the feels like temperature. This is the air temperature. Feels like temperature is even hotter than that. On average, for the beginning of August, we're resting in the lower 90s, but today, tomorrow, Thursday, expecting those triple-digit highs. Friday, we get back down into the upper 90s, just 1 degree less, but it's still going to be hot out there. And we keep mentioning the record-breaking temperatures, and the reason for that is because we're forecasting above all of that. And so today's record was 100 degrees set back in 1935. So far, Mobile Regional has only reached 98 degrees. However, the National Weather Service can go back. They can look at the 5-minute METARs and decide, hey, like we actually did reach that. And so we'll keep you updated, mainly at Fox 10 News at 4 and 5 o'clock is when we'll get that update to see if we tied or broke that record. And we still have additional daylight to go by this afternoon that we could go ahead and reach that. We were forecasting that 101 degree temperature out there. Heading into tomorrow, same situation, and even warmer than that. The previous record, 99, set back in 1972. On Thursday, 98, set in 1972. We're forecasting 100. And then on Friday, the previous record was 98, set back in 2007, so not too long ago. And we're forecasting 99. And so it's expected to stay hot. If your kids start school tomorrow or Thursday, that's why you need to make sure that they have ways to cool down. Make sure your pets are getting plenty of water. If your kids ride the bus, especially if they're going to be getting off the bus heading into the afternoon, that's when they need to make sure that they're getting plenty of water. And if you work outside, know anyone that does, just make sure you know the signs and symptoms of heat exhaustion and heat stroke, because that will be a concern over the next few days with our feels like temperature still continuing closer towards 110 degrees. Now, also something else that I wanted to mention, I talked about this earlier on Studio 10 and Fox 10 Midday, as I've been seeing some posts go around online, and unfortunately we are not included in it. Is that the big talk is that there's going to be this cold front that pushes through, and it really doesn't do much for the temperatures, but some areas are going to be knocking back down into the 80s. Even the mid-south possibly going to start to see their overnight temperatures dip down into the 50s once they get closer towards the weekend and into next week. Unfortunately, we are not part of that. That cold front is not going to be dipping down further towards us. Even then, it wouldn't even influence our forecast temperatures that much. Not expecting it for us. However, we will return to our regularly programmed summertime pattern once we get closer towards the weekend. We just got to get through this week. We'll dip back down to the mid-90s by Sunday and Monday and have more of those isolated rain chances. But again, this is the Climate Prediction Center. If you really breaking it down, that blue coloration that you see closer towards Tennessee, Kentucky, North Carolina, and into the Northeast. Also, remember, you still have Tropical Storm Debby expected to move through, be in the wake of that system, but that's where we're eyeing the potential for more of that cold front. I won't even really call it a cold snap to go through. It's just going to knock back down those temperatures from what we're seeing right now. But be cautious about what you see on social media. Northern Alabama is going to be having a higher chance of seeing just a little bit of a downtick in temperatures by this weekend. Unfortunately, not expecting us to really see the influence by that. And it'll knock us down by about 5 degrees, but still above average for this time of year. So in case you are joining us now, again, just taking a look at those temperatures. I was going to say, just have a comment from Amber saying that the dash in her car is reading 100 degrees right now in Orange Beach. It is hot. It is steamy. We were just driving out and about there with Chelsea, and her car was reading 102 in downtown Mobile. So it is hot out there. Take it easy, take breaks, stay hydrated. Here's a look at the current temperatures out there right now. We'll be breaking down more of this, and if we do reach or break any of those temperatures, we'll have those details coming up probably after Fox 10 Live, so likely at Fox 10 News at 4 and 5 o'clock. I'm wishing everyone a fantastic Tuesday. As always, in case you have any questions for us, if there's ever any weather questions that you want answered, then we would love to answer those for you. You can always email us or leave a comment here, and we'll try and get back to you whenever we can. But thanks for joining us on this edition of Next Weather. We'll continue to keep you updated, and I'll be on Fox 10 Live coming up within just about 15 minutes. See y'all there.